When life breaks you, a speech in the style of Marcus Aurelius. What is this moment but a test? What is pain but the tempering of iron? If life has broken you, then it has only shown you what was weak within you. Do not grieve the loss of comfort. A comfort is the chain that binds men to weakness. Do not curse the heavens as storms come to make roots run deeper. Consider, has the sun ever wept for the darkness? Has the fire ever pleaded for mercy from the wind? The sun rises because it must, the fire burns because it is its nature. So too must you rise, so too must you endure. It is the way of all things to be struck, to be shaken, to be shattered. The oak withstands the storm, the mountain does not bow to the rain, and yet, man endowed with reason laments his hardships. But what does lamentation serve? Does sorrow mend the broken? Does despair rebuild what is lost? Only action, only discipline, only the unyielding will of the soul. You have been broken? Good. Now you may rebuild yourself, not as you were before, but stronger, wiser, more unshakable than the man who fell. No man is truly tested until he has stood at the edge of ruin and chosen to step forward, unafraid. Life owes you nothing. It promised you nothing. What it gives, it may take, but what is yours, what no force of the world can strip from you, is your character, your discipline, your resolve. A man may lose all things, a wealth, title, even the flesh upon his bone but if his spirit remains unbroken, he remains victorious. So stand, do not wait for the world to mend what is broken, forge yourself anew. Let adversity be your teacher, hardship your sculptor, and let the world see in not a man who has fallen, but one who has risen again, greater than before. When life breaks you, it does not do so to destroy you, but to reveal what within you was never strong to begin with. Hardship is not an enemy, it is a mirror. It shows you the fractures in your mind, the weaknesses in your soul, the illusions you once held about your own strength. A man who has never faced adversity cannot know the measure of his own resilience. He may believe himself strong, yet when the storm arrives, he finds himself undone. It is only in the moment of breaking that the truth is laid bare. Do not curse the hardship, for it has given you a gift, a knowledge of yourself. The fragile man recoils at pain, seeks to numb it, to hide from it. But the wise man, the man of discipline, asks, what is this suffering revealing to me? Where am I lacking? If a man falls and despairs, it is not the fall that is his undoing but his own unwillingness to rise again. To be broken is to be offered a choice, either to rebuild stronger or to remain in ruin. The world does not grant immunity from suffering. It does not spare the good, nor does it punish the wicked as men would like to believe. It simply is. A fire does not consider who it burns, nor does the ocean show mercy to the drowning. But the fire tempers steel, and the ocean forges the strength of those who learn to swim against the tide. You have been given this trial, not as a curse, but as a test. Will you remain fragile, or will you forge yourself anew? The body, when broken, mends itself stronger than before. The mind must do the same. If your suffering has revealed weakness, then it has given you the knowledge of what must be strengthened. If you were shattered by loss, then you must learn detachment. If you were broken by failure, then you must train yourself in resilience. If you crumbled under the weight of fear, then you must master courage. Each hardship is a lesson. To ignore it is to invite the same suffering again. A man who understands this does not fear being broken. He does not lament misfortune, nor does he plead for an easier path. He welcomes hardship, not because he enjoys suffering, but because he knows that each trial is an opportunity to sharpen himself. The untested sword may gleam in the light, but it is the one that has endured the forge that proves itself in battle. Which man will you be? The one who appears strong in ease, or the one who has been tested and found unbreakable? If life has broken you, do not seek to return to who you were before. That version of yourself was not enough. The pain has shown you that. Use it. Let it drive you forward. Let it carve away what is weak, and let it leave behind only that which cannot be broken. Comfort is a sedative, a slow decay disguised as peace. It lulls the mind into complacency, weakens the spirit, and leaves a man unprepared for the inevitable trials of life. Ease is not a reward, it is a test. It asks whether a man will remain vigilant or whether he will soften, whether he will discipline himself or indulge in idleness. Those who choose ease over struggle unknowingly prepare themselves for collapse, For when hardship cometh, and it always cometh, they will find they have built nothing within themselves to withstand it. To grieve the loss of comfort is to misunderstand its nature. It was never meant to last. The seasons change, the tides shift, and so too does fortune. If a man ties his happiness to ease, then he has built his foundation on sand. The moment life takes what was never promised, he is lost, shaken, undone. He curses his misfortune, not realizing that it is not the hardship that ruins him but his own unpreparedness. A man who has never embraced struggle is brittle, like a branch that has never known the wind. Struggle is the path to strength, not because suffering itself is noble, but because it forces a man to face himself. Ease allows him to hide his weaknesses. Hardship exposes them. It strips away the illusion of security and reveals what is truly within him. If he is weak, he will break. If he is willing, he will grow. The tree that bends in the storm does not curse the wind. It learns to endure it, to root itself deeper, to strengthen its limbs. Those who understand this do not seek a life free of hardship. They do not resent the loss of ease, for they see what it truly is, an opportunity. When life breaks them, they do not ask, "Why has this happened to me?" but instead, "How will this shape me?" They do not long for what was lost but prepare themselves for what is to come. They train their minds to embrace discomfort, to welcome difficulty, knowing that with every challenge, they become more unshakable. A man who desires only comfort desires only weakness. He asks the world to spare him from pain, yet it is pain that forges strength. He wishes to be protected from hardship, yet it is hardship that makes a man capable. Those who seek ease will find themselves unprepared for suffering. Those who embrace struggle will find themselves unbreakable. Do not long for the past. Do not wish for an easier road. Take what has come and use it. Let hardship be your teacher. Let struggle shape you. If comfort has been taken from you, then you have been given the greatest gift, a chance to grow beyond what you were, to become what only hardship can make you. Lamentation is the refuge of the undisciplined mind. It serves no purpose beyond prolonging suffering. When life breaks you, when all that was once familiar is taken away, you are given a choice: either waste yourself in sorrow or act. The first leads nowhere, the second rebuilds. To grieve what is lost is natural, but to remain in grief is a failure of the soul. What is weeping but a plea for what cannot return? What is despair but a demand that the world be other than it is? The wise man does not indulge in such illusions. He does not ask the river to flow backward, nor does he curse the fire for burning. He accepts, then he acts. What has happened cannot be undone. No amount of regret will change the past. No amount of sorrow will restore what is lost. The man who understands this does not waste himself in mourning. He does not sit among the ruins and call for time to reverse itself. He moves forward. If he has lost wealth, he seeks to build again. If he has lost love, he strengthens his heart. If he has lost himself, he reshapes his soul with discipline and resolve. He does not lament, he acts. Pain is a signal, not a destination. It is meant to alert you to what must be done, not to be a place where you dwell. The body, when wounded, does not weep, and it begins to heal. So too must the mind. The weak man nurses his sorrow, feeding it with memory, clinging to what was, rather than facing what is. The strong man takes his suffering and turns it into fuel. He lets it drive him forward, not hold him in place. The world will not stop for your grief. The sun will rise, the seasons will change, and time will move forward whether you do or not. To resist this is foolishness. To surrender to sorrow is to make yourself smaller, weaker, less than you were meant to be. Do not allow pain to chain you to the past. The past is beyond your reach. The present, the future, these are still within your hands. A man may be struck down, but he is never truly defeated unless he refuses to rise. The moment he chooses action over lamentation, he reclaims his power. No force in the world can prevent the man who moves forward. He may have lost much, but if he still possesses the will to act, he has lost nothing that truly matters. What good is sorrow? What does it build? What does it mend? Nothing. It is only action that shapes a man's fate. It is only movement that separates ruin from rebirth. Let others waste themselves in mourning. Let others cry for what cannot be undone. You will stand. You will move. You will act. Hardship is not to be feared, nor should it be cursed. It is the chisel that shapes the soul. the fire that tempers the mind, the weight that strengthens the will. The weak man sees adversity as punishment, as misfortune that robs him of peace. The wise man sees it as instruction, as a necessary force that refines him into something greater than he was before. To live without hardship is to remain untested, unshaped, soft in both body and spirit. Strength is not given, it is earned. It is forged through struggle, through pain, through the relentless discipline of facing trials without yielding. If life has broken you, then it has only revealed what within you was unprepared. A tree that falls in the storm was not destroyed by the wind, it was weak long before the storm arrived. The storm merely exposed it. So too with men. Adversity does not create weakness, it reveals it. What breaks you was already fragile, what shatters you was never as strong as you believed. But this is not a curse. It is a lesson. It is a call to rebuild, to strengthen, to strip away the falsehood of security and replace it with true resilience. A man who understands this does not shrink from suffering. He does not ask for an easier road, for he knows that ease teaches nothing. The soldier who never trains in war is useless in battle. The mind that never endures hardship remains soft, untested, incapable of withstanding the blows of fate. Strength is not found in avoiding adversity but in embracing it. A man who wishes to be unbreakable must first allow himself to be tested. He must step into the fire willingly, knowing that what is weak will burn away, leaving behind only what is indestructible. Adversity does not come to destroy you, it comes to refine you. It strips away illusion. It reveals truth. It forces you to confront yourself as you truly are, without the comfort of ease to hide behind. The man who has never suffered believes himself strong, but his strength is unproven. The man who has endured and risen again knows his own power, for he has felt its weight, has tested its limits, has stood against despair and refused to fall. You have been broken? Then you have been given a gift. You have been shown the parts of yourself that were not yet strong. You have been given the opportunity to become greater than you were. Do not waste it. Do not resist the lesson. Let adversity carve away the unnecessary. Let it strip from you the weakness that would have failed you later. Let it mold you into something sharper, something harder, something that will not break again. The world does not spare any man from suffering, but the man who embraces adversity as his teacher will rise where others fall. He will grow where others wither. He will endure. Strength is not given. It is not something men are born with, nor is it bestowed upon them by fortune. It is chosen. It is forged in the fire of hardship, shaped by the blows of misfortune, and tested in the moments when all seems lost. A man does not become strong by avoiding suffering. He becomes strong by walking through it, by refusing to let ruin define him, by stepping forward when every force in the world tells him to fall. When life breaks you, it offers you a choice. You can surrender to despair, allow the weight of loss to hold you down, and become a man who lives in the shadow of what was, or you can rise. You can take what remains and move forward, not because it is easy, but because it is the only path that leads anywhere. The weak wait for circumstances to improve, for the world to offer them relief. The strong do not wait. They act. They decide, in the moment of their greatest trial, that they will not remain broken. Pain does not make a man weak, his response to it does. Two men may suffer the same loss, endure the same hardship, face the same storm. One will crumble, lost in self-pity, blaming the world for what has been taken from him. The other will grit his teeth and take another step, not because he does not feel pain, but because he understands that his suffering is meaningless unless it drives him forward. What has been lost is lost. No amount of sorrow will change that. A man may waste himself mourning the past, longing for what was, cursing fate for its cruelty, but this does nothing. It builds nothing. Strength is not found in dwelling on ruin. It is found in moving beyond it. The foundation has crumbled, then lay a new one. The road has ended, then carve another path. The man who refuses to yield, who refuses to be defined by his failures, is the man who cannot be defeated. The world does not care for suffering. It does not stop because a man has fallen. It moves forward, indifferent, as it always has. The only question that remains is whether you will move with it. Strength is not the absence of struggle, it is the decision to push forward in spite of it. True resilience is not found in never falling, but in never staying down. A man who chooses to stand, again and again, no matter how many times he is struck down, is a man who will never be truly broken. The choice is always before you. You can allow ruin to define you, to hold you in place, to make you small, or you can decide, in this moment, that no matter what has been lost, no matter what pain has been endured, you will continue, not because it is easy, not because you are unscathed, but because you refuse to be anything less than unbreakable. The world may strip a man of everything: his wealth, his status, his home, even those he loves. Fortune is fickle, and what is given today may be taken tomorrow. Yet there is one thing no force in existence can touch: the spirit within him. The body may be broken, but the will is his to command. He alone decides whether he will remain steadfast or crumble. This is the power that no misfortune, no suffering, no calamity can steal. When life breaks you, it is not the loss itself that destroys you, it is surrender. And surrender is always a choice. A man may find himself standing among the ruins of what he once knew, everything familiar turned to dust, but ruin is only ruin if he believes it to be. To the man who understands the nature of things, it is merely the clearing of space for something new. What is lost was never truly his, for nothing external ever is. Only his mind, his discipline, his resolve belong to him, and if he holds firm to these, he is never truly without. The weak man believes he is at the mercy of events. He looks upon misfortune and calls himself a victim. He allows hardship to define him, to dictate his thoughts, his emotions, his very sense of self. But the man who has mastered himself knows otherwise. He understands that while the world may dictate his circumstances, it does not dictate his response. He alone commands his mind. He alone determines whether he will stand or fall. Discipline is the shield against despair. It is the fortress that hardship cannot breach. A man who has trained himself in discipline does not falter when tested. He does not seek comfort or pity, nor does he beg for relief. He simply endures, not because it is easy, but because he has made the choice to do so. Pain may come, suffering may be great, but neither have the power to break him unless he allows it. Resolve is the fire that no wind can extinguish. A man who has resolved to continue, no matter what is taken from him, is a man who cannot be defeated. He understands that his spirit, his ability to think, to act, to persevere, remains untouched. He may be stripped of everything external, but as long as he has mastery over himself, he has lost nothing of true value. Nothing in this world is permanent. All that is outside of you, wealth, possessions, even the body itself, is fleeting. But the spirit, the disciplined mind, the will that refuses to yield, these are eternal. So long as you choose to keep them. The world may take much, but it cannot take what you do not surrender. Hardship will come, loss will arrive, but as long as you command your own mind, you remain unconquered.